folks, welcome back to the Bobby Bo Show. So I just got the new Gotham chess course, the E4 Repertoire. So I've been playing a lot of E4 recently, and I said I was going to hit 1650 on the next stream, but I accidentally played some games offline, and I won them, and now I got 1650. So here's those games, guys. Some E4 gameplay with some brilliant kingside attacks. Watch out for the brilliant move here. And here's the moves it starts with. C6, we're playing a Caro Kann for the first game, so I'll take the full center. D5, we push the pawn, the advanced variation of the Caro Kann. They play the Gotham chess move, and I don't usually play against the Caro Kann. I usually play the Caro Kann, so I like to imagine the board is flipped and play the most annoying moves for white. So I support the pawn here, but not really sure what to do. We'll just play the opening though. Get the bishop out, pin it to the knight. That's pretty annoying usually. And then after E6, I play knight to F3, and I'm getting ready to castle. But now they decided to take this pawn, so I take back. And now I have two pawns in the center. Slightly more space here because my pawn is advanced here, blocking the F6 square so the knight can't come out to here. But it usually comes out to E7, and then either to F5, where it attacks this pawn, or it can also come to G6. So usually in the Caro Kann, they try to attack this D4 pawn, because if they get this pawn, which isn't supported by any other pawns, then they can win the whole center, and they have two pawns in the center. They can push to get a queen, or just attack your king. Very easy if black can win this pawn. So you have to try to defend it. And after A6, they're attacking your bishop, which is pinning the knight to the king, keeping the knight from attacking the pawn. So you want to get rid of this knight. You trade your bishop for the knight. They take back with the pawn. Now there's an open B file for their rook, and they might play C5 or something like that in a little bit. So you got to watch out for that. So I play knight to D2, because usually knight to B3 here to support the pawn. But now that this knight is gone, it might not matter. I can probably just go knight to C3. And now I'm blocking this bishop off. So if they wanted to develop their knight to something like F5 eventually, they can now go knight to H6, because then I couldn't take with my bishop and double up their pawns on the H file, making them have weak pawns. Because usually they go knight to E7 first, which blocks the bishop off. So if they want their bishop on E7, they have to get the knight out first. Takes two moves, but instead they play C5 right now. Perfectly fine. And now I play knight to B3. They push C4, and I just move my knight back to D2. And now they win connect 4. And they have some space here, so maybe not the best play from me so far, but I'm only 1640, so give me a break. And they're only 1550, so they play bishop to B4, pinning the knight to the king. But of course you saw it immediately. Queen to A4 check, hitting the king, forking the king and the bishop. No knight to block here, that usually defends the bishop. They just lose a piece. Resign now, you can't save it. Here's game 2 with a brilliant move, so stay tuned for the brilliant move. And once again, it starts with E4. We're playing E4 all day today. And after E6, it's the French defense. I'll play D4, take the full center, D5, and I'll trade pawns this time. And then go knight to C3. Just the moves it starts with. Knight to F6 now, and I'll get the other knight out. And here they play bishop to E7. Getting ready to castle quickly. And I haven't gotten to the French variation of the Gotham chess course, so not sure what to do yet. But I just decided to facetta on the king's side, so I play G3. And after they play C6 to support this pawn here, smart, because my bishop is going to go to G2, and now it's pretty useless. So that's probably why this is a little bit inaccurate for me. But bishop to G2 anyway. Then after they castle, I castle, and I have a pretty safe king side here, but still a pretty even game. Bishop to G4 now pins the knight to the queen. So H3 attacks the bishop. They just go back. And here I just decide to go for G4. Kind of weakening the king here. Makes this diagonal pretty accessible. Could be a problem if I don't play carefully, but it's okay right now. They go back to G6, and I play knight to E5. Strong knight in the center right now. Cannot be taken by anything. They have to move this knight if they want to push this pawn, which would weaken the king. And maybe I just take this bishop. But now knight to D7 threatens my knight. But I'm okay with a knight trade, because I'll just play F4. And we're moving all of the kingside pawns down. And I'm giving up all of my king's safety here, but I'm going to try to attack their king with a brilliant move. And after bishop to E4, because the bishop is about to be trapped, probably best to take back with this knight. But instead I take back with my bishop, and they take back with their D-pawn. Only defended by the knight right now. So after G5, the knight's under attack, and it has to move. But first, they take my knight, and now both knights are under attack. And which one should I take? Well, I was looking at if I take here, which is probably fine, but then they have knight to F3 check, and my queen can't take back because it's defended by the pawn. So I was worried about my king over here being attacked by the knight. Wanted to avoid that, and I figured just take with the F pawn, open up the rook here. This knight is still under attack, and then I can take back here next. They go knight to D5, and I don't want to trade knights here. I want to take their pawn and attack the king. Also, this supports the pawn here, defended by the bishop and the knight, so they can't take. So they go queen to D7, and now they're attacking the H3 pawn, trying to get in on my king side here. This is a big weakness because I played my pawns forward. So what do? I have to defend this. There's a couple options. Second best move, queen to F3, but I play the best move, queen to H5, defending the pawn here. and putting the queen right in front of the king. But how do we attack? Not sure yet. But now they play knight to b4. Oh no, they're about to capture on c2, attacking my rook. How do I defend this pawn? Or can I do something else? Well, c3 is actually just okay here. You could do that. If they play knight to c2, you just move your rook over. So there's not really any threat here. But can you win the game? Can you find the brilliant move? I'll give you a second. Make sure you're subscribed. And the brilliant move is knight to f6 check, forking the king and the queen. What do? Well, they take back with the pawn here. And after you take back with your pawn, if it was your turn right now, queen to g5, checking the king. King has to go to h8, then queen to g7, checkmate. So you're about to checkmate them. But first they play queen captures d4 check, attacking your king. And you only have one move that wins the game. Otherwise it's a draw or you lose. So think carefully, and hopefully you play king to h2 instead of rook to f2 like me, blocking the check. Maybe the rook comes over here, but the rook is pinned to the king. You can't move this rook. You could have just played king to h2 and then move the rook over. And now they're going to move their king over and move their rook over and check your king. But their bishop's under attack right now, and they should just ignore that and move the king over. But instead, they know they're going to get checkmated if they don't do something. So they capture on f6. But it's no good. Just take back now, and you're still threatening checkmate. Queen can't take here because the rook defends it. But now they move their king over. And uh-oh, they're about to move the rook over. Check your king. Where do you go? But once again, there's one move, and only one move, that wins the game. And hopefully you found it. It's bishop to h6. Great move here, because after the rook checks you on g8, you can block with the bishop. And it's almost checkmate here, so the rook has to take. And then you take back with the pawn, and now the queen should take here. And you're going to be up a little bit of material, simplify into a winning endgame. But instead they take it back with the king, and it's just game over. I play queen captures f7, king goes to h8, and they resign now. And we're one game away from 1650. So here's the game that I hit 1650, another e4 game. And it's a great one. They play e5 this time, so I play knight to f3. And this is something I'm a little bit more familiar with. I've been trying to watch the Italian games in the Gotham chess course. So knight to c6, and I play bishop to c4. And after h6, the anti-fried liver, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm playing c3. I'm about to take the whole center. Now they play bishop to c5, and I get the entire center. Exactly what I wanted here. E captures d4, I take back, and they play bishop to b4 check. And in the Gotham video on YouTube, he said to play knight to c3, but then in the course he said d2, and I'm not sure, maybe I'm getting confused here. So I played knight to d2 here. Maybe not the best, or maybe it's just like advanced course tactics that I don't understand fully yet. But now the knight is pinned to the king, and after knight to f6, they're attacking my pawn, which is undefended because this knight is pinned to the king, so not defending the pawn here. And maybe just e5 or d5, but I castle. And I think it's a little bit of a pawn gambit if they play it right, but I'm getting like a lot of development because I basically already castled and developed all my pieces here maybe. But they don't take the pawn, they just castle, and I play e5, and now I'm plus 1.2 on the engine, basically a winning game if you're a chess master. And I'm a future chess master, everybody knows that. And now knight under attack, they have to move the knight, they go knight to h7. Now d5 is pretty strong, but I play a3 first to attack the bishop, and they decide to trade off bishop for knight. Now I move my other bishop up, and all the rooks are connected. Bishops are on active diagonals here. This one's lined up in front of the king here. So they play d5, attacking my bishop here, and I have to move it back. Or I could en passant. Great move here. And after the queen takes back, it's plus 2 on the engine. Best move, d5 here. But first I play bishop to c3. Tripled up on the pawn here, fully supported. So just supporting the pawn here. And after I push d5, this bishop opens up on the king here. But now bishop to g4 pins the knight to my queen. I'll attack the bishop with h3, see what they want to do. They go back to h5, and now I finally play d5, attacking the knight here, so they have to move it. They go knight to e7. And now once again I play the best move, and it's moving g4. My pawn's in front of the king, attacking this bishop like the earlier game. Bishop has to go back to g6. And now they have all of their pieces around their king, so it looks like their king might be pretty safe, but I can threaten checkmate with queen to d4, lining up the bishop and the queen on the g7 square. Almost checkmate here. So knight to f6 to block it and bring the knight off the edge of the board here. But now I have a crushing move, but I don't find it on this turn, but I'm about to, so see if you can find it right now. First, I play knight to e5, putting my knight in the middle here, attacking this bishop. Maybe at some point I take that. If this knight moves, they have to take back with this pawn here, which opens up the diagonal on the king. Very good bishops here lined up on the king, but I could also line my bishops up with something else. But I don't see it yet, but I'm about to. They play rook to d8. Blunder. And now I'm starting to see the tactic that wins the game, but I didn't think I have it yet. Bishop to b4 just wins the game immediately. Because after bishop to b4, their best move is just to lose the queen. The queen is trapped. If they block with c5, just take with the bishop, and after they move the queen back to safety, you just fork them. They can't defend this knight. They're gonna lose something no matter what they do here. But I didn't think I had bishop to b4 yet. I think I didn't see this d6 push to fork the queen and the knight here. So instead I played rook to e1 first, so that I could add some pressure here. But I had it. But they don't see it yet. They play knight to e8. And now I see it. I play bishop to b4, hitting the queen. And c5 is no good. I just take back with the bishop. And now there's no knight on f6. So the queen can go to f6. But it's no good. I just take the knight anyway. The queen takes back. But knight to g6, discovered attack. Taking the bishop, forking the queen and the rook. Rook also attacks the queen. They just have to give up the queen. And now you're up a queen. Oh my gosh, there's like a squirrel on the microphone. And now after f takes back your knight, the diagonal's open. Just push the pawn here. After the king moves, you just push the pawn again, attacking the knight. You're about to promote. You can't really promote right now though, so the knight moves to safety. And now you just want to simplify, trade one of the rooks off, maybe trade the knight for the bishop. So I go rook to e7, supporting the pawn here. And after b6, I play h4, just getting ready to play g5 here. Trying to break open this file here. Maybe I can checkmate. The bishop defends this square. So if I can get on this file here with my queen or my rook, then I can checkmate. So king to h8. And now g5, attacking the knight. They take with the pawn. I take back. Now the knight's under attack. Knight to h5. Blocking this file off. And also defending on g7, so I can't checkmate right now. But now this knight is locked down. And I could play mate in 8 with bishop to d3 here. But I decide just to go rook to e8. And I'll give them a pawn just to trade rooks. Because I have a queen and a bishop. Pretty easy if they don't have 2 rooks. Because if they have 2 rooks, they can checkmate me. But after we trade rooks, I promote to a queen, but they take it back anyway. Now it's a lot easier for me to win this game. Bishop to f7, now attacking the rook and this pawn. But rook to e1 check. I'll just step up, king to g2 now. And once again, it's almost checkmate. So king to h7, trying to step out of some checks here. But I'll just go queen to d8 anyway, and it's almost checkmate here. Knight to f4 check, no good. I'll just go king to f3. And now the king is safe, no more checks. And they resign now, because it's almost checkmate. Pawn blocks this square. On the next live stream of the Bobby Bo Show, we'll keep working on getting towards 1700. Thanks for watching. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Goodbye.